Welcome to What If, a show which discusses the latest episode of Doctor Who, Series 10, 2017, and wonders what it would be like if it was a Classic Who episode. I'm Ben.
I am Luke.
I'm Nick.
So, what if Oxygen was a Classic Who episode?
Well, the first thing that strikes me is that the suits look very realistic and not silly. If we look at what they thought the future would be like, they thought it would be very, very strange and that future fashions would be totally random. Here, they look like spacesuits but a bit coloured in.
I'm thinking budgets might have made the suits look different in Classic Who as well. When you end up with the totally funky ones in the moon base.
Yeah, I would also say the aesthetic of the episode overall looks a lot more realistic here than it would in a Classic Who story. Like the sets wouldn't be nearly as well lit. Say, I don't know, let's think of Warriors of the Deep, for instance. Spotlight just everywhere makes the set look really bad. Here they use atmospheric lighting to make it look a lot better than. I'm sure if you saw it in the wrong light, it would look terrible. But because it's with the atmospheric lighting, you really do get the feeling it's this crumbling apart space station.
What's similar is that we have a very small cast of characters, with the threat mostly being off-screen as the zombie things edge towards them. In the 80s, they probably would have tried this because their confidence was a bit up. Problem is the effects budget probably wouldn't have risen to meet it unless there was money saved elsewhere, like in The Curse of Fenric. Doctor Who dealt a lot in very existential horrors. They didn't really have the budget to show the monster on screen all the time. And so what was so brilliant is how little you saw of it. And that is definitely something here.
Yeah, and also here the threat is not universe spanning or anything like that. Anything over the top like that you can get in New quite a lot. This is very much a Base Under Siege story, but this is a Base Under Siege from within, and it's so well done. It's so original in so many different ways. That it's not just a very well done Base Under Siege story. It's more than that. So a way that you can see how this is Classic Who is in the way it's directed. It's quite telling that they brought back in, after many years of not doing Doctor Who, Charles Palmer, who directed Human Nature, also a very Classic Who story. I think, and he was also given Rona Munro's script for this season. So clearly, these are going for more classic feels to them. And I would say the similarity of this to Human Nature is that it feels very realistic. It's shot in a way that makes you feel like you're there. It's not trying to do anything artsy-fartsy sort of thing.
Although there are artsy bits to it.
Yeah, you get some bits when it's like Bill's suit malfunction. But that is, as you said, this would not have worked in Classic Who because they just didn't have the camera techniques. Or if they did, it would have cost so much money that they couldn't have done it.
I think it would have been more down to the actual acting of the actors.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, for me, the reason that this scene exists is basically this is a Classic Who story, so it needs probably an hour and a half. What this does is it cuts out all the kind of padding that you'd have in the middle, and so very much the episode is segmented into two parts.
It's got an extremely high pace as well.
Yeah, it could probably work as a two-parter, but it doesn't need to be. This is how you write a story that's fast-paced, but doesn't have a rushed conclusion either. That's what I felt about all the other episodes this series. But this one doesn't have a rushed conclusion. It just makes sense.
One further thing we consider is this story would have been much more standalone in Classic Who, not building up to a story arc that's going to be developed in the next three-parter. Matheson is quite the toady that way, always serving to Moffat's story arcs in Series 8 and 9, although everybody appears to be with the Vault.
I would agree with you in general, but there are some examples of Classic Who where it could be part of it wouldn't be a part of a story arc per se, but it would be sort of continuity between episodes as happened.
Yeah.
So probably the most obvious example of some sort of similarity to this, which is the arc in space. I mean, that episode is actually very similar to this. Season 12, they all run into each other, don't they? So yeah. So if you were going to have a sort of arc or continuity in Classic Who, it would only be at the very beginning and the very end. Nothing in the middle would refer to it. New Who is more written, it is like one person's vision for the show, whilst in the classic show, it was much more collaborative.
The last idea is that there would have been less of a resolution to the plot than the 2+ sentences given in the last scene. For example, once the zombies were defeated, the Doctor would just fly away in the TARDIS. He wouldn't set up this big revolution, and they wouldn't give 2 sentences to say that, oh, this is what happened afterwards.
Famously, Chris Boucher was always irritated by stories which wrapped up too neatly, which is why the Doctor just marches off at the end of his 3 stories. And it gives the Doctor this wonderfully alien feel, whereas here he seems much more involved with people. It's definitely one of those defining features of New Who.
Yes, very good at doing that, and those are the differences between Classic and New Who, we feel. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Watch the main podcast. Next week, what if Extremis was a Classic Who episode? I've been Ben.
I have been Luke.
And I have been Nick.
Thank you. Goodbye.